All right, guys, I've been seeing a lot of things that are just pissing me off. And it's coming out of the anarchist community. It's coming out of this movement that we have been working so hard to build. And it's being torn down, not by the right, not by the police, but by our own. By people who call themselves progressives, anarchists, anarcho-communists, leftists, liberals, whatever. Our entire movement is about toppling oppression, toppling tyranny and despotism. And if we are going to topple despotism, if we're going to destroy tyranny, then this entire movement needs to be dedicated to taking out those damn pigs that are destroying our society, destroying minority and inner city communities, and that are just implementing an entire system of systematic oppression on black, brown, and minority people. And if we are going to fulfill our goal, we have to be united against one thing, and that is overturning and abolishing the police. Overturning and abolishing the police. And if we are not in agreement with this, guys, then don't call yourself anarchist, okay? Then don't call yourself left, progressive. Don't call yourselves freedom fighters. Don't call yourselves activists for liberty and democracy and freedom and purging the world of governments and tyrannies and monarchies and any sort of system that sets itself out to control the lives of the masses and of the people, okay? I've been seeing a lot of things that are just absolutely ridiculous. For one, guys, we are getting too obsessed with protests. What is up with that? Every time, and I know what you guys are going to say, we have to do protests. It's a way to express our anger. It's a way to express the frustration of the unheard and those who are ignored and all that stuff. But the bottom line is, every time we do a protest, guess who shows up? The freaking pigs, that's who. It's those damn pigs, those cops. They show up to our protests. They show up to the protests, and guess what happens? Who gets paid? See, we take time out of our days to go to these protests. We take days off of work to go to these protests. We sacrifice our weekends, our free time, the time that we could have spent with our families and our friends to go to these protests. We're not getting money. We're not winning. We're not getting any sort of advancement. Who's getting paid? The freaking pigs who pop up. So they get sent to our protests to supposedly keep the peace, when in reality, they're just there to squash the movement for freedom, to squash any sort of actual grassroots, innovative volition and movement that is here to get rid of despotism. And they are there to make their presence known and to get paid by the police state that funds them and the corporations that fund them. And they're there. I want to show you guys something. This is something that really demonstrates what I'm talking about here, guys, okay? If you want to abolish the police, stop doing protests. Because every time you do protests, police get paid overtime. Let's look into the facts, shall we? All right, guys, so this is actual evidence for what I am talking about here as to the destructive effects of protests in our movement to abolish the police. It says right here, Baton Rouge protests against police brutality costs $900,000 in overtime pay for officers. Every time you do a protest, guess who gets money? Guess who gets money? The police. Did protests calling for reform and defunding the police held this summer actually put more money in the pockets of officers? WAFB filed a public records request, etc., whatever. I'm not going to bore you with all this stuff. WAFB discovered that law enforcement officials in East Baton Rouge Parish spent close to $900,000 of taxpayer money to make sure the protests in the Red Stick remained peaceful and people could exercise the First Amendment right, which is a little BS because those freaking pigs are only there for one reason, and that's to squash the movement for freedom, and that's it. They're getting paid by the corporations that fund these fat pig politicians who support the police state, who hate freedom, and they hate any sort of movement that is based on the Enlightenment and based on the humanistic idea of man's inner volition for liberty, intelligence, and freedom. But where exactly does that money come from? And were the people who participated in the protest surprised by the amount of overtime paid, etc., etc.?
We all know where the money comes from. It comes from the corporations that back these politicians. It comes from the tax dollars. And we all know who pays a lot of the taxes in this country. It's filthy rich white men.
So here's the thing, guys. If you want to abolish the police, the first thing you could do is stop protesting. Listen, I come from the punk scene. When I was in the punk scene back in Santa Monica, our entire mission was to topple the idea of government, to eradicate the very concept in the collective conscience of government and police in the minds of the people. That was our entire mission. When I was doing activism work back in Santa Monica, I was part of a punk band. We did music against the police. We did anarcho-communist music. It was total, absolute, pure idealism, and that's what we were about back in Santa Monica. So I've been doing this for 30 years, and for 30 years, our entire mission was to abolish the police and abolish the very concept of government. And what are you guys doing? You're protesting, and you're putting money in the pockets of the police. So, stop protesting. Stop protesting, guys. You want to help your movement? Stop protesting. You want to help the police? Continue protesting because it puts money in their pockets. And this is coming from the movement that says that they want to defund the police. Okay? Forget abolishing the police. A lot of these guys are talking about defunding the police. How in the hell are you going to defund the police when every time you protest, the police gets money right in their pockets? Think about that. You guys are getting screwed by your own idealistic BS.